Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Jacob in Wisconsin. We're live in Green Bay here at the draft and run around Green Bay for, I don't know, a little less than 24 hours now, and the buzz is just absolutely wild here. I know Jacob's got some stuff he's got to take care of today, so I thought it'd be cool. Let's hop on a quick morning show and kind of get the latest, how he's feeling as we go into draft night. Obviously, we will be live tonight. Same as here this morning, YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, X, everything. We're going to be going live as soon as the draft kicks off. Actually, probably about 30 minutes or maybe even an hour before the draft kicks off in case some trades happen early, something like that. And just get everything kicked off for everyone here this weekend. It's going to be phenomenal. Jacob, man, how you doing, big dog?
Oh, Clayton, I'm doing well. It's kind of crazy, man. It's like Christmas morning, you know. You're waiting, and then all of a sudden it's here, and it kind of doesn't feel like it's real. But I'm excited, man. Yeah, Clayton called me on my way into work and said, "Hey, we're gonna do a quick show. You got time?" And I was like, "I can be late for work. It's the draft, bro. Let's do it."
Yeah, I said, just quit your job, Jake. It ain't a big deal, dude. I mean, I know this pays $0, but quit your job. It'll be fine. So,
all right.
Now it was last night was really, really cool, man. We made our rounds and we ended the night by just kind of walking around the draft area, which was all fenced off last night, obviously, but just kind of get a feel for where everything's going to be. It's buzzing. I'm telling you. On the Stadium View side, you know, if you guys know where Stadium View Bar is, it was just a party over there last night as we rolled through. And then you get on the opposite side, on the Titletown side, where the draft experience is going to be, and it was just like dead silent, maybe a slight beep and a piece of equipment backing up, that type of thing. And everything's pretty much set up. The vendors, there are vendors everywhere. So, yeah. As I woke up this morning, I said, man, I'm not going to eat anything until I get over there, right? I'm just going to cram my face. We got leftover chocolate cake cake from the steakhouse last night. I already tore into that this morning, Jacob. So it didn't last long. Long at all. So.
I'm not gonna lie. I was sitting at home, guys. Some stuff came up last minute, so I didn't actually go to the draft. I'm not gonna be able to be there in person. So all night I'm looking at my phone blowing up from Emilio and Clayton and Tim just having the time of their life, meeting people, rubbing elbows with the upper elites, and I'm just sitting here at home like, oh man, looks like those guys had an absolute blast. Did you get to meet anybody from PTA yet, or from the posse?
Oh no, not yet. No, we're that's going to happen today. I've had a bunch of people messaging me, so we'll definitely meet up with everyone today when we get to the draft. Really excited. Honestly, man, listen, it's cool to kind of run across people that we did last night, but I'm more excited about finally getting to meet the folks that are in the chat, people that Jacob, you started this with me, you know, a couple years ago, you know, before Emilio and Tim came on, and we finally get to meet some of these folks that we've been, I mean, honestly, it feels like you've known them your whole life. You know, we've been talking ball with them for so long, so it's going to be awesome.
Hey, man, don't move, but there's a weird homeless man sitting next to you. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Seen a couple of those last night, actually, Jacob, as we were perusing around. So, now listen, Green Bay, they crushed it. The city of Green Bay. We get off the plane, Jacob, and Mandy's like, "Here, let's stop and take a picture at this." I'm like, "Listen, there's gonna be plenty of picture opportunities. Let's get out of this damn airport, right?" I just, you know, we had two connecting flights, so I was just actually 3. That's right. We went from JC to Charlotte to Chicago to Green Bay. I guess technically 2 flights. But anyway, we walk in, and there's this gauntlet of people from the city of Green Bay. And they've got bags of cheese curds, right? They got bags of cheese curds, and they got these little gift bags that's loaded with spices and stuff. It's really, really cool. I was just like, man, this is unbelievable. They had people lined up, like, cheering you on as you walk through the airport, just welcoming everyone in from out of town. It was really, really cool. So, Prince in the chat, Excelio's awake. It's a Christmas miracle. He literally just walked in here and found out I was going to go live. So.
We talked all night about Clayton not going live. Yeah, no, we'll skip the morning show, no problem. You know, get a little recoup, and I roll out of here at 8:50. Yeah, Jacob's getting on. We're about to run a quick morning show. I'm like, what are you doing?
Exactly. Let's see here. Zach in the chat says, I'll be in Green Bay in about 3 hours. We going over Stadium View for some shots. Listen, it's going to be very, very difficult for Clayton not to have any drinks today.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, I'm the type of person, I get a couple in me, I don't want to party. I'm going home, going to bed. So we got a live stream to do tonight. It's going to be a marathon. It's going to be Diet Coke and brats today is what it's going to be on Clayton's menu. But I'd love to meet up with you, man. Like I said, we'll be in the draft experience all 3 days, and then planning on coming back and going live later. Mandy is dancing off screen again. Emilio gets to experience it for the first time here. She's acting a fool. So, all right, Jacob, man, I want to get your take, dude. We wasted enough time here, and we'll talk. Once Jacob has to hop off, we'll talk a little bit more about what we ran into last night and all that good stuff. But how you feeling, dude? Like, one of the things that we did have happen last night, we talked to Peter Schrager, and it was Peter Schrager and Mike Greenberg from ESPN, right? Peter Schrager, if you guys don't know, I'm pretty sure he just signed a deal with ESPN. Dude, too classy, dude. It was just awesome. They were chatting with Drew Rosenhaus out in front of the restaurant, which is, super agent, been an agent in the league forever. He happened to sit down and have dinner with Javon Bullard, who is his player, and some other gentleman we didn't recognize. And we had Maxwell Harrison on the other side. But long story short, we sat down and talked, or we got to talk to Peter Schrager on the way in the door, and Emilio asked, he's like, "Hey man, who do you got the Packers taking?" And he said, "Who do you think they're taking?" And he said, "Well, I'm going to take a Matthew Golden, right?" And then in the conversation, Derek Harmon gets brought up too, Jake. So I want to get your take. Here's the names that are kind of getting tossed around for the Packers, right? You've got Maxwell Harrison has been one that's been mocked here lately, right? You've got now the fact that they mentioned Derek Harmon last night. That's the first I really felt like, hold up, I haven't really thought about that here lately. But Matthew Golden being mocked to the Packers seems to be the more popular one right now. How are you feeling about it, man? Not who do you want, but if you had to go, man, it kind of feels like the Packers are going in this direction. Who do you think it'd be?
Oh boy, it's tough getting closer and closer. When we spoke briefly on the phone, the Derek Harmon thing is starting to sound a little more realistic as we move in closer and closer to the actual start of the draft. As far as the Matthew Golden thing, I'm just not quite there. I'm just not quite on board with that. I got him ranked personally quite a bit lower as far as my wide receiver rankings would go, but I still seem to be gravitating towards the 3-tech. I think it could shock a ton of people, and the Packers could trade back, and I just feel like TJ Sanders is feeling more and more like a Packer with everything that he represents and what we want to do. I just don't know if we take him in that 23 spot. So, and again, the concept of trading down seems easy, but I've heard so many rumors about how a lot of teams want to trade back. You know what I mean? And like what Emilio says, a lot of guys going in reverse, but nobody wants to sticker and drive. So, and he knows a lot about cars. He sleeps in them. I'm just, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just praying and hoping that we are all not going to be surprised by who this pick is. You know what I mean? With all the research we've done, there's no way. You can't get us this year. Goody.
Yeah. And here, Elijah asks a great question here in the chat. He says, thoughts on the talk of Wyatt going to 3-tech and us drafting a backup 1-tech behind Kenny. So that's exactly like, as it sits right now, Devontae Wyatt is our 3-tech. There's no two ways about it. And the reason I talked about 3-tech all offseason is because I'm not sold that Devontae Wyatt is this superstar 3-tech. And I feel like some teams, the reason they're constantly competing is because they continue to just add to that interior defensive line, the defensive front, over and over and over. You've seen, Philadelphia do it again, right? You get Jalen Carter, and then, they lose Milton Williams. I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and they get a 3-tech. If it's Walter Nolan, I'm going to throw up on the keyboard tonight. That's going to happen. But so when you look at it and go, okay, well, Wyatt's our 3-tech, let's go get a 1-tech. If you go and get a 1-tech, the issue with 1-tech is they're only going to be playing 1-tech whenever you're in a base defense. You're only in a base defense roughly anywhere from 20-30% of your defensive snaps. So those guys are going to play a lot of 3. They're going to play a lot of 2-eye. They're going to play a lot of 4-eye with those fronts that halfway shows. And in some cases, even if they're playing a 1, they're actually drifting across the formation with them running a twist, a TT stunt or a torch stunt, whatever you want to call it. So there's a lot of different factors that come into that. I want the best defensive tackle possible, whether it's the first pick, second pick, or the third pick for the Packers.
Yeah.
And if you get someone like a Kenneth Grant, yeah, he's got the body and the athleticism to play one tech. Absolutely. Tyleik Williams, same thing. But you're also getting players that can play that three tech when you're in those nickel sub package. It's not even a sub package anymore. They used to call it a sub package, Jacob, because you would go to that package just a short amount of the snaps because you'd be in your base the majority of the time because teams are just trying to run out of their 21 and 12 personnel. Well, now the league is shifted to majority 11 personnel, so really the nickel package becomes base, and that's why we've been talking a little bit here lately about the nickel cornerback being the most important cornerback on the field because he's in the center of that defense as close to the mic as any other corner on the field. But with that being said, let's get Emilio's take on it. Because for me, to answer your question there, Elijah, it's not about do we get a one tech to play behind Kenny. It's more about let's get the best defensive tackle available. We know it's a passing league. So, and I'm not sold that Devontae Wyatt is going to be a top 10 defensive tackle. That's just me personally. I hope I'm wrong. And if you go and get an extra one, maybe, rising tide raises all ships. Maybe he raises his game and, oh, hark, you're like the Eagles. You've got two dominant three techs.
Right.
So, anyway,
Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem, right? If we had two dominant three techs. I think when I was asking Peter and Mike there, we talked about obviously the receiver. Then they went to they said Derek Harmon. And I go, what about Walter Nolan, right? And Greenberg said he said, it's the Packers, right? They're always going to draft D-line. They're always going to try to draft an edge. They're always going to try to get that beefed up. And I think that's where we're kind of leaning towards. Obviously, we get the talk of the wide receiver. I think it's still all pointing to D-line or edge. Take that important position, big money position right away, get that squared up, and then move forward with your draft. Obviously, it's going to matter how it lands, but I can really see. Like Jacob's saying, I mean, if they like TJ Sanders, they're pulling the trigger early. That'll be the first pick. And we would be like, what's he, 40th on our board? But hey, the Packers love him, Maxwell Harrison, take him. He's not high up on the board. He's 70, I think, 77. But if the Packers love him, they're going to take him in the first. So I'm excited for it.
And the thing about Maxwell Harrison, Jacob, if they take him, you would think where he's ranked on our board, I'd be like, oh, crap, that sucks. No. Because what it tells me is they're expecting 2023 Maxwell Harrison. You guys remember when we signed Josh Jacobs, and it's like, are we getting 22 Josh Jacobs? We're getting 23 Josh Jacobs. Okay. Guess what? We got 22 Josh Jacobs. Yeah. We drafted Jaden Reed. It was the same thing. Weak final year in college, stock drops a little bit, didn't run a great 40. They get him in. They've got a faster 40 time on him. At least the analytics they use had that. And lo and behold, he had a dominant year the year before. Packers pull the trigger on it. That's kind of why the Maxwell Harrison thing feels like would not be surprised if that happens. Right. I'm a Kentucky fan. Any Kentucky guy they take, I'm going to be excited about it. But I'm not going to change it on the board just because all of a sudden he's got first-round buzz. Our board isn't set up to go, let's try to predict where all these guys are going to be taken. Our board is to provide as much information as possible to go, the guys at the top seem to be the safest picks. They may not be the high-ceiling guys, but they're the safest picks in terms of 12 different measurables. But,
yeah, if you guys are looking for more content right after this, go check out Ryan's podcast that dropped this morning, and he ends the podcast with a really cool exercise where he looks at the top critics, analysts, whatever you want to call them, from last year that got the most accurate, and then he looks at ones that have been the most accurate over time, but then he specifically at the very end looks at the guys that were specifically accurate with the Packers drafts, and I can't remember the 2 or 3 authors / analysts that he lists, but they were guys that last year either had him drafting Bullard, had him drafting their first lineman there from Arizona. I'm forgetting his name all of a sudden. Jordan Morgan. And then I believe they had us having Edge and a bunch of these other guys. So he looked at what they did, and the 2 players that corresponded and correlated a lot was Maxwell Harrison, and then it was Jalen Royals coming around like in the 3rd or the 4th. And I looked at Jalen Royals' tape, man, and he's a fun dude to watch, man. He's a fun guy to watch.
He is. And you can see here Jalen Royals, Senior Bowl participant, captain of Utah State, met with the Packers at the Senior Bowl, and he meets the athletic threshold. The only thing he's missing is a top 30 visit, and he would be just cranked to the gills. And honestly, when I look at that, I could see him being a pick just as much as any of our Gold Bar guys, because of the simple fact that you've got 4 really 4 of the 5.
Yep.
You know, and that's where we run into these problems when we're trying to set the gold, the gold bars on the players that we think are most likely to be picked by the Packers, or at least a safer chance of being picked by the Packers. I almost feel like if you've got 3 of those 5, they should be gold, but we don't want to bend it too much because, like I said, we had 7 guys marked last year. 2 of those 7 actually got drafted by the Packers. So, So is there anything else you want to hit on, Jacob? I don't know what time you got to get off here. I don't want to rush you out. You take your time. But I want to make sure you get the stuff you want to talk about before you have to hop off here. And I see we got one marked in here. Did you mark that, Jacob, or is that Emilio?
I did, yeah. I just thought it was an interesting question.
Let's hit it.
I don't know how to pronounce this dude's name. I thought it was Zacharias or something, but it's Zach. How do you say that, guys? Zacchaeus?
Zacchaeus is what I would say.
There you go.
Zacchaeus Earls. I like that. All right. He goes, are y'all hoping for a more defensive type draft or an offensive type draft or a half and half? To me, the offensive class is really weak this year, but that's my opinion.
What do you think, Jake? You answer, man.
I'll tell you what, I was doing an interesting mock this morning at 4 a.m. because I woke up wired and couldn't fall back asleep. And I didn't decide, but I ended up somehow going 4 defensive picks overall first. And then after that, I was like, man, I did do that intentionally, but that'd be crazy if you went the first 4 picks all defense. I did trade back, so I acquired like an extra third, I believe. And then it just so happened that my next 3 picks were all offense. And then I ended it up with, I think, a pretty even split. But if you go in intentionally saying I want to bulk up this side of the ball or that side of the ball, I feel like that's kind of the same thing as limiting yourself to, instead of best player available, you're drafting by position in a way. You know what I mean? You're just drafting by one side of the ball or the other. To me, it's kind of in that same vein. And I don't really like to consider that's how we have to draft. But if the draft happens to fall a certain way, I got no problem with going heavy on one side or the other. What do you think, Emilio?
Absolutely.
I think that's the case. I mean, the way the draft is kind of laid out, we've talked about the D tackles. There's like 30 of them that are probably going to go, 20 to 30 of them that are going to go in the first 3 rounds. I think that's completely fair. And you're right, Jacob. If you go ahead and start pulling, hey, I just want the number top of the list. You're going to do best player available, but then, hey, you don't know if you're filling that need that you had. I think that's a great point because. And the way that Goody, it's really all the way the board falls. Who's going to trade up? Who's going to jump you? Who's taking the guy in front of you? Would we have taken Jay Love if they didn't take, the receiver right beforehand? All those things kind of roll into each other. And that's where you got to be prepared for everything. That's why I like when we look at the 30 visits, we've covered kind of our whole basis there at the first round. Let's make sure we get the one we know we like, and then go ahead and take an eye on a couple of the guys later rounds. But and it seems like Jordan Love had the interview with Royals, right? Or with Gay Adam talking about Royals the other day too.
Yep.
So you just kind of get those little snippets like, what would happen? What if he does come this way? I think that's a completely fair point.
Yeah, and if we take a look at the horizontal board here, what it comes down to is you can see the tiers, and I know you guys probably can't read the names. I just want you to get the visualization of it across the board here. We've got them listed by grade vertically, and then obviously horizontally, you got the positions listed. So if we're talking like wide receiver, let's say people say, I really think we should button up wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Let's zoom in on that wide receiver slide here real quick. Okay, so you got Ted McMillan in tier 2, right? And then in tier 3, there's no receiver. Then in tier 4, you've got Emeka Egbuka, Luther Burden. Tier 5, you've got Matthew Golden. That's how our board sit. That doesn't mean that's how Goody's board sits, right? And Matthew Golden with that 4.240, people are going to love that. They're going to absolutely love that as opposed to Emeka Egbuka and maybe a Luther Burden speed. So then right below that, you've got Jaden Higgins and Trey Harris. I think everybody would agree, like which would you rather have? And I'm not saying that Jaden Higgins and Trey Harris are going to be available in the second round. There's no reason to think that's a slam dunk guarantee. But if you said, which one would you rather have? Matthew Golden at 23 or one of the two, Jaden Higgins or Trey Harris at 54? I think we would all say Jaden Higgins or Trey Harris at 54, which then takes you back to, okay, first round, what should we be looking at? We've talked 3-tech a lot, right? So you go to D-tackle. This lines up a little bit more with the board. There's nothing in tier 1. Tier 2, you've got Mason Graham. Tier 3, you've got Kenneth Grant and Walter Nolan. There's a good chance you'll have one of those two guys on the board at 23, especially if Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss, Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado, and we already know Cam Ward's probably going to be the number 1 pick. If all 3 of those go, and you get Ashton Gianti off the board early.
Say running backs, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If Omarion Hampton somehow goes before
Yep.
23, you're going to be crapping in high cotton. You know what I'm saying? Like that's going to be absolutely awesome. So if Kenneth Grant or Walter Nolan is there now when you're working the horizontal board, you got to ask yourself, okay, which would you rather have? Matthew Golden, who's down there in tier 5, or would you rather have Kenneth Grant or Walter Nolan, who's in tier 3?
Right.
It's a no-brainer. Now look at the edge defender. Some people are going to go, what about edge? Look how loaded edge is. You're going to have another shot to get one of these quality edge defenders. It kind of feels like the cluster you want to try to hit there at edge is going to be this JT Tuamaloa. Well, I can't say it all of a sudden. Ashton Gelati. I don't think they'll be interested in Ashton Gelati and Jack Sawyer, but they are in that same tier as JT. And then you go down, you got Jordan Birch, you got Josiah Stewart, Princely Umana Mellon, I believe it's
Nice.
Umana Mellon. So when you go back up, there's a good chance James Pierce Jr. is going to be on the board at 23, but everybody's saying he's too small. He's too small. The board would say run the damn card. However, he's in that same tier as Kenneth Grant and Walter Nolan, along with Shamar Stewart and Mike Green, who's in the purple because you have a personal issue. So when we talk about working the horizontal board, I'll show you what I've got right here. We've got physical forms of this. Nick, if you got one too, I just want to show everybody. Right, we got this horizontal board we've got right here. And as the draft goes along, we're going to be marking those off, right, with the dry erase, and we'll know exactly who's the best available. We're going to try to relay this information the same way we are right here during the live draft stream as well. So that way you guys can kind of see, okay, I see who the best are available there in terms of the horizontal board. Because when you zoom out here on it and you see all the positions across the board, it's such a wide board, it's hard to see them all. If I zoom out a little bit further, you could kind of see what we're talking about here, right? So it's one of those things that when you're working the horizontal board, you've got to know exactly where everybody's at each position, and the board will literally talk to you. When you get to pick 23, you're going to go, boy, we got a pocket of depth coming up at edge, or we got a pocket of depth coming up at corner, or what have you. So another position is cornerback that we talked about, Jake. And if you look at the cornerback position, let's see how it shakes out. And you go back to the top, we've got Travis Hunter at the very top. I'll try to get it zoomed in a little bit more for you guys. It's kind of hard the way we got this set up here and the way the horizontal board works. Let me zoom back in just a touch here. When you look at the cornerback board, Travis Hunter is in tier 2. Will Johnson and Jahdae Barron are in tier 3. So if Jahdae Barron's there, you guys know how I feel about that. I would be all about it. Will Johnson, if he checks out, the medicals check out, and he's healthy and good, he feels like he's going to have a long career. There's nothing to suggest otherwise. I'd be okay with Will Johnson. Savone Rebel, same thing. We got him in the red because he had that injury in 24 that's going to mess with his stock. Some people are seeing him as a second-round pick now. And then after that, you've got Trey Amos, and look at this. We get into no man's land, you know? And then it's coming up Azareé Thomas, Darian Porter, and Benjamin Morrison. Here's what's going to happen, in my opinion. Once you get past Trey Amos, someone's going to reach on those next 3 because it's such slim pickings. And that's why the whole Jair Alexander talk, Jacob, is if other teams get to this point and they go, damn it, we didn't get one of those corners we wanted, that phone might ring for Jair Alexander. So I think that's what Goody's banking on, Jacob. What do you think?
Yeah, and like you said, that's a good pocket where that could happen. And all of a sudden, what seemed like we could maybe only get like a 4th or a 5th or worse for a Jair, all of a sudden the team starts in panic mode, and you could maybe even fleece them for a 2nd or a 3rd or a 4th or something like that. And that would be absolutely ideal. I'd love it. I got to run, guys. I got to see tonight around, were we going 6 o'clock or 6:30-ish, somewhere in there?
Yeah, probably definitely by 6:30. It just depends on what goes on over there, but I would like to be back here and live by 6, but definitely by 6:30.
All right. Go Pack Go. We'll see you guys later.
Have a great day, buddy.
See you, Jacob.
Later.
So someone asked in the chat here, Emilio, Hairston not on the board. He is. You see him. He's in the tier below Benjamin Morrison, Azareé Thomas, Darian Porter, those 3 guys, right? And that's what we're talking about. We got a 70.1 on him, all right? We got the red because he was injured this past year. Now, that obviously, there's no reason to think he's not healthy. We seen him last night with his family at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Dude, he seems like such a good dude, right? And if you go to the vertical board here to show you guys how we've got him in that spot, and I see Rob in here from Green Bay Packers, Daly, appreciate you, buddy.
Became a
Good to-
new
good-
member, actually.
My
Appreciate you, Rob. Absolutely.
He just
bud.
wasted his money on this
Yeah,
particular
Rob.
show. Thanks, Rob. We appreciate you. Yeah. Let's see here what we were talking about.
77 Harrison.
77 Harrison. I want to explain why he's low on our board because I'm glad you asked that question, SDM board.
The only thing is last year's PFF grade. I mean, everything else is talking to you as like this guy's going either early second, late first type numbers.
Yeah, so that's what we were talking about is like we could flip those numbers, the 23 and 24 number, and he now jumps up into that first round range.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that because I really like the system we've got set up. But if you know how the board is built, we've got that in the back of our mind. That's why I led off with, listen, if they take Harrison at 23, it means they've got a first round grade on him, obviously, right? And that would line up with, okay, they are not concerned with his season last year, and that lines up with the Jaden Reed pick. Like Edgerrin Cooper. Edgerrin Cooper was a little lower on our board last year too, and the reason being, he was right around where we took him. I think it was in the 40s, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
He was right around there on our board. But some people are like, man, how'd you not have him as the top linebacker? Because the opposite. That last year that he was in college, he was dominant. But the years before that, he wasn't so much. So it's like, we got 1 year of it. Is that him or is it the previous 2 years? Maxwell Harrison, is it 23? Guys, go watch the highlights. He was electric in 23. So that's the reason. And I like that consistency baked in. Maybe next year we just go with the better grade and just go, okay, whichever one's the better, whether it's his last year or the year before in college. That might be the best way to do it. But I see you switched the numbers. What did it show?
So if I just took the 4 off the front there, gave me 84th position in 24, that would bring him right around 44, 45-ish. That would put him in the tier with TJ Sanders, Trey Amos, Grace Zabel, Quinshon Judkins, Mason Taylor, who's being talked about being a late first. That would be the if all else fails, I'm pulling the trigger on that kind of guy. I think that's your tier there, right at 40 coming down. If everybody that you wanted was gone in the first 30, that would be your take. And I mean, Matt, what a guy. I got to take a picture with him, asked him, hey man, can I get a picture real quick? Great guy. And I said, Maxwell, what would it be like? I mean, reunion with Carrington, what are we talking about here? He goes, dude, I'd love to. I'd love to be back to Carrington. Could you imagine a dual Kentucky cornerback room? I mean, Clayton would be freaking out. He'd be buying jerseys. We'd be going AWOL with it.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a great point. I'm gonna drop this down and show you guys here the what we're talking about. At dinner last night, he was at the table right next to us, and we've got the spot in Green Bay. There's no two ways about it. It's where I always go and grab dinner when I'm in town, and it never fails. There's always players there. It's a little pricey, don't get me wrong, but Amelia, do you not get what you pay for?
Dude,
it was
that strip steak was monster. My plate was clean, wiped clean with some bread. Then we come back, we had appetizers. We had that chocolate cake was no joke, like 5 inches tall by like 8 inches like wide. That thing was huge.
Yeah, it was a blast. But you see here, he grabbed a picture with him, and like I said, watching him interact with his family, and not like creeping or anything. We're just having a meal. They're cutting up, they're getting loud and having a good time, this and that, and we are too. And just like I'm like, you can tell his family like they adore this dude.
Yep.
And listen, I don't want this to come across the wrong way. I didn't see no flashy young lady there with him. I didn't see him trying to act cool. It was just, man, let's go out and celebrate. Got invited to the draft type thing. It was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, you worked your whole life, right? He worked his entire life, brought his family with him to Green Bay for the draft. Like, dude, this is what it's all about. I mean, this is why we're here. This is what, family, working hard, getting what you put in. And, dude seemed all about it. I appreciate him, taking a second to take a picture and, pulling for him, hoping that we can get something good for him. Rob
Westerman says the chocolate cake's absolutely money. We've got 2 slices over there, Rob, that are this thick, bro. That's what I had for breakfast this morning.
We even asked the ladies. How big is that cake that those things? Because I mean, no joke, it's like a 20-inch round pizza, I would think. Yeah. That's like 8 layers high.
That's awesome. But here's the other thing that was cool about Maxwell Harrison. Like, when you're out in that setting, we have players all around us. We had agents. We had ESPN crew.
Yep.
And it's like, I don't want to bother people, but some of them, you could tell they enjoy just interacting with the fan. Like Peter Schrager was absolutely awesome. Mike Greenberg it was just really, really cool. What's awesome is Maxwell Harrison, man, let's grab a picture. He took a picture with several fans and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then what really got me was we're sitting here going, don't be weird around these people. Like they're trying to have a nice dinner, right? Desmond Howard comes out of the back room with his son. I guess it was his son,
I
right?
believe so.
He comes out of the back room, and what's Maxwell Harrison do? Jumps up out of his seat, runs over to him, gives him a hug, was like, "Oh man, I'm a big fan." I was just like, "This is so cool."
Full circle,
Yeah.
full circle, absolutely. I mean, he's been there. You know, you've seen Howard get there, and then, I mean, how can you not be excited? I'm sure he watched him growing up. You know, I'm sure all that stuff kind of happens, and it's like, dude, we're just normal people at the end of the day, right? You just kind of want to live it up and experience it. I think that's completely where it's at.
Yeah, and then you got literally right to our left is Javon Bullard with his agent Drew Rosenhaus and some other guy that we didn't know who it was. To me, it kind of felt like it might be some kind of endorsement opportunity, like a business deal type thing, is what it felt like.
They were going over.
What I say immediately, I was like, that better not be a damn GM from another team. Boy,
Talking.
Drew having him sitting down with the enemy tonight.
No, but they were asking Bullard some questions, like what do you think of Quay? You know, where do you think you are with the linebacker group? Where do you think you are with the D line? I think they were asking him about Nazir Stackhouse, the other Georgia D lineman in the draft here. So it's like they're kind of picking his brain on where do you think he's going to be, or where the team's going to be, this year moving forward, and who do you think you might want to bring in to help this team excel. And even Bullard, a couple people asked Bullard for some pictures. We didn't want to bug him too much, but a couple people got his picture, went up, and he was just on his way, man. We're really blessed to be able to be here and kind of see everything happening and meet up with everybody.
Yeah, it was awesome. And here's the other thing. As you were talking, it got me thinking what it could have been too. It could have been an agent within Drew Rosenhaus' agent family,
Yep.
right? They could have been kind of trying to pick his brain. Where do you think the Packers are going to go type thing? I kind of doubt that. But also, I don't know. It's just there's a multiple different facets that could be right there.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I knew who the guy was, because that would just completely.
Yeah, it would tie everything together. But right now, we can leave it open-ended. But it was kind of cool just to see him. And then you lean over, you look, and you got Greenberg, Peter Traeger, Adam Schefter was at the other table. I mean, that whole table was just covered with the media elites over there.
And then Emilio's lady Jordan got to meet someone from the Food Network who's doing some kind of cooking thing over there. Wasn't it Teeny? You guys, I don't watch Food Network much, but you think I probably do. Double Jim. So she was like, "Oh my God, that's so and so." So it was just a spot. It was really, really cool. Another spot we got to hit, which I thought was absolutely awesome, is at Hotel Northland, historic Hotel Northland as it's known. And we got to go in there and kind of rummage around a little bit. It was a lot of fun as well. That, if you guys don't know, the Hotel Northland, that housed both Packers and away players when they were in town to play. Way back in the day, it was just this high-end luxury hotel. It closed down for a little bit. They completely refurbished it and brought it back to life. Vince Lombardi used to have some of his team meetings in there in the ballroom and little team get-togethers, things like that. It was really, really
That was
cool.
my first time seeing it. So you had always talked about it, and we just, last time I was here, didn't have any time, just went to the game and went home. But being able to kind of experience it, get a little bit of the life of Green Bay, walking through there, seeing that hat they had for Vince on stand, and kind of just taking it all in. The fact that there's just history there, right? I mean, then we hop out, we start walking the river. You're enjoying the music. You're looking at the Reinitsky, right? Was the bridge there? You got all the paintings. I mean, it really is super cool. Just kind of living it up and sort of being there with everything that's happening. And I mean, it's a party, dude. They have got. I mean, we were just driving. Uber was taking us out of there, and there were just cops flying back and forth. I mean, it was going crazy last night.
She said it to her Uber driver. Said, "There's gonna be people in a drunk tank tonight."
That's it.
And this was out on the river. They had the bridges lit up and everything. Live music off to the right. It was just absolutely awesome, man. It was such a cool setup.
Yeah,
so
really.
Anyway, you guys listen. I'm not showing this stuff to gloat or anything. There's a lot of people that listen. You got families. You got prior commitments. You got stuff you got to take care of. You couldn't make it up. We we wanted to give you guys content and kind of make you feel like you were there. That was the goal. So please, hopefully you don't take this as, man, they're trying to big time us. I promise you it's not that. It's just I love combing through YouTube trying to find stuff on Green Bay, and it's so scarce.
Yeah.
And that's something we all got to get better at sharing, videos, social media, because it is such an underrated place. And the people here are unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Even our waiter was like, yeah, hey, I mean, at least you got our table, right? You didn't get Adam Schefter, you didn't get Bullard, but like you just kind of enjoy the moment, man. And I'm just, we're really blessed that we were able to come up here and see all that. And yeah, man, like you said, we're just trying to get you a firsthand experience. If you're not able to be here, just trying to live it up.
Yeah, and the goal will be today is try to get as many videos as we can of the experience. And if I can do it on the fly, I would like to post them on Twitter. Now, I don't know what the connection is going to be like over there, because there's going to be so many people jammed in. You know what happens with cell phone signal. But if I can, I will send those videos out immediately and also try to get them up on the YouTube channel, maybe in short form. That way, all day long, you guys can kind of feel like you're there. That's the goal. So, it was.
I'll get the GoPro going. We'll try to see if we can get a couple of live looks.
Exactly. And we appreciate everybody hanging out with us. This was just a surprise stream. Like, hey, you know what? We got a couple minutes before we got to get cleaned up and head over to the draft. And we got 186 people in here, man.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Feel free to sub to the channel if you're on YouTube. If you're on Twitter watching and you'd like to interact in the chat, like you see some of us share some of the chats, especially the super chats and everything, just click on the YouTube link in my profile, or just go to YouTube and type in Packers Total Access. I'm sure that'll link you to a show that's linked to the channel. Go ahead and sub. This is the best place to watch. But if you prefer Rumble, we've got a Rumble live stream going right now as well. We're also on Facebook. I haven't grown it much, but maybe we'll get to that later. So, but that's pretty much what we wanted to cover. It was an awesome night one. And again, the weather was perfect. It's beautiful out here right now. I think it's supposed to cloud up a little bit.
Perfect.
So that way it ain't too hot. It's hoodie weather will be absolutely great. So, of course, in Green Bay, man, hoodie weather for us in Tennessee, they're walking around in flip-flops over here in Green Bay. That's how they roll. So no big deal. So look at Elijah. Drink a spotted cow for me. Tim came through in the clutch.
Oh, yeah.
Elijah. He actually popped up and got us hooked up with a little bit of spotted cow. He knows I love it. And, man, he has went above and beyond. The only reason he's not on this stream is because all of his stuff's here, and he can't live stream from the house.
We took it from him, basically. Tim, bring all your stuff over here. Yeah, it'll be fine. No problem.
But he'll be with us tonight as we go live. Like I said, definitely by 6:30 Central Time, maybe a little bit earlier if we get back in time.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, spotted cow is on the menu for tonight. I promise you that. I just got to be careful, man. I'm getting old, and I get to drinking a little bit, and I just get sleepy. I don't get rowdy anymore. I just get sleepy. So.
Yeah, that's fair. That's completely fair. I might get a little rowdy. You can reel me in as needed, but no, I mean, it's just I really can't wait to see it. I think being there and actually seeing everybody, in person, like you said, we walked around last night, kind of got to see they had chain fences over the entrances, all that. I think being there and really seeing, you're going to see every single team. Like our first driver was saying, you come downtown, you saw like Seahawks jerseys, you saw other Bear jerseys, you see like Cardinals. It's pretty wild to see not just green and yellow, every turn.
Yeah. And listen, every draft season, something outrageous happens, right? There's always something. I just grabbed a couple of these from recent drafts. You guys remember when George Pickens was selected? And I know there's rumors that he may be getting traded to Green Bay. This video always cracks me up, Emilio, of him staring at the TV, looking like me watching Saturday morning cartoon, right, as he's getting drafted. Right. So that's one of the moments that happened here recently. I don't know. I haven't got a chance to ask you. What do you think about George Pickens? Let's say the draft, the trade rumors are true. Do you want George Pickens in Green Bay?
I would say no at this current moment, just because I kind of like the wide receiver room where we're at. I think we still have to pay them. If Pickens is coming over, we're going to have to pay him right away. I think we're still trying to hammer out who we want to pay now. And I think I would kind of rather, head defense and protect Jay Love a little bit more than pulling in another receiver.
I got it. Understood. So another draft moment here recently. That was pretty funny in my opinion. Was CeeDee Lamb. You guys remember when CeeDee Lamb was drafted by the Packers, or not by the Packers, by the Cowboys, and his girlfriend tried to take his phone, This is good stuff right here. Look at this. She grabs his phone. He's like, no.
That's
You
a negative.
You don't do that.
No, I'm sorry.
My favorite part is this right here. This is when she realized this probably ain't gonna work.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna be around much longer.
Yeah. That's tough.
Gotta love it. I love. He just handled business like, no, we're good. There's another one, and then I'll tell you, this one was catastrophic too. I think it was Laramie Tunzel, right? Is that who it was?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. If it ain't Laramie Tunzel, he's going, "What the hell you keep my name out of your mouth, bro? What are you doing?" The gas mask incident, right? Obviously, this didn't happen on draft night, but it was released on draft night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way it was released, and I think it was, I don't want to speculate too much. It was somebody that used to be in his inner circle kind of sabotaged him on draft night, and he dropped significantly. I don't know what that smoke is, but yeah. And it was like, man, keep the mask on, you're okay. When he took it off, it's like, oh no, he's dropping on board.
You heard the sound.
Yeah, exactly. And then who is it? We got Harry Cheese said, I thought the gas mask was endearing.
Yeah, see.
So anyway, and I know many people talked about the flag that was on the wall because it kind of looked like a Confederate flag that was on the wall back there. I remember that being a conversation that blew up on Twitter as if maybe he was a racist. I'm going, I don't know. I don't think he's a racist, but so yeah, so it was the rebel pride flag, wasn't it?
Right next to an American flag. So
right. Anyway, I think, we won't get into all that. So there you go. Again, Laramie Tunzel and the gas mask incident was epic as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, got anything else, Emilio? It's about time to get ready to go. You ready to go?
Get ready to go. Yeah, no, I'm excited, man. I really am excited to see everybody. I got my mock draft in just in time last night. I mean,
you and Jacob are wasting your time.
Just in time.
Not winning the contest.
Because Clayton goes into Patreon and goes, all right, in by 11:59. I'm sitting there ripping through my last one really quickly. Got it posted at 11:59. So I can't wait to bring that one home. And if Maxwell goes in the first round, we are cooking with Crisco.
Yeah. And here's the thing. If they win, if one of those two win, they get to choose who gets the prize. That's how that's working. All right. You guys are not getting the prize. So if you haven't already entered our draft contest, we're going to extend it a little bit longer. Okay?
Oh, he's cheating now. Now he's cheating.
In the Patreon group, scan that QR code in the upper right, or go to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. And if you're a member of the $3 tier at a minimum, you'll see a chat in there. It says draft board or mock draft contest. Just post your most accurate mock draft of what you think the Packers will do in a 7-round mock. You could trade if you want, but just understand if they don't do that trade, then you're kind of hindering yourself a little bit, right?
Right.
There's been some people that have involved trades as well. So, and whoever has the most accurate mock draft are going to get an autographed Javon Bullard jersey.
Let's go. So, we should have brought it with us last night. See, we can double
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You double autograph that bull.
And then we'll do some other giveaways throughout the rest of the weekend as well. So after night 1, what we'll probably do is announce the winner in night 2 of who got that. Well, we can't. I was going to do a first round mock contest, but it's a 7-round that we ended up going with, right? So it'd have to be after.
The end of the
So we'll do some giveaways in round 1 throughout the whole draft. Round 1, night 2, all that. Yep. We'll do some giveaways. Like we got a Lynn Dickey jersey. We can give away autograph one. We got a couple others too. I sent the list to them so I wouldn't forget. And again, you just got to be a member of the $3 tier, and that'll get you entered into those contests as well. So that being said, appreciate y'all hanging out with us on such short notice. You guys and gals are awesome. Hit that like button on the way out. Tyus in the chat says, love you guys, man. Keep balling for the Pack. Hey, appreciate you, Tyus. Thank you so much for following along this silly little show, man. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Again, we will see you tonight for round 1 of the draft is finally here. Appreciate everybody. Everybody hit like on the way out. Y'all have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
And we go. We out.
Bye, guys.